Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in and welcome back or welcome to my channel. I'm Annalisa and this is a message about overcoming self-sabotage. So this was one where I said to the cards, what do people need support with right now, and this is what came up. So here we have a reading, firstly identifying what that particular self-sabotage is and then how to overcome it. It's a fairly short, straightforward read. So if you don't identify with the first card that comes up, then tune into a different pile. And if you do, then hopefully the advice is going to support you. So we have 4 piles for you to choose from. We've got the amethyst, peacock ore, number 2, number 3, ocean jasper, and number 4 is rose quartz. So pick your pile and I'll get into the readings. Okay, group number 1. So we have the Ringmaster of Scrutiny as your self-sabotage, discernment, clear vision, details. So you're quite likely someone who, nitpicks, who gets really into the very fine particulars about why is something not working, why is something like this, why are they saying that, who thinks what about who, can be really going into very, very fine ideas about what exactly you think. So you're very much going into your mind a lot, where you're really trying to understand something from your mind, and analyzing all the details. And it may be that it may be for example, you order a meal and you ordered fish and chips with mushy peas, and the mushy peas come crushed rather than fully mushy, and this is going to drive you absolutely crazy because it wasn't exactly what it said on the menu. I don't know if that's a good example, but it's something where it's so close, but it's just these little things that you maybe really get stuck. You get stuck on these details, and it really brings you down. That's where you're self-sabotaging, is where you can't let go of these small things. So the advice, what's going to support you? So yeah, divine perfection, Archangel Melchizedek and selenite, number 4. Yeah, this is about accepting that that things are exactly as they're meant to be. And this is maybe a message for you, particularly about your life right now. Maybe there's lots of things that are going well, but you have a habit of focusing on maybe the small things that aren't going so well. So this is about accepting that you are exactly where you're meant to be, or things are exactly as they're meant to be, that everything is perfect just as it is, that mistakes are okay, that getting things wrong sometimes is okay. It's letting go, being able to let go of control over every last thing, or the idea that you need to control things, and rather accept that everything is working out perfectly just as it is. So you don't need to judge yourself as well. So for any decisions you make, any choices you make, just allowing and knowing that you are perfect just as you are, and forgiving yourself for any perceived faults, or forgiving others for perceived wrongdoings, and being aware of what is good, what is going well, counting your blessings that you already have. So you don't need to hold on to anything out of shame or guilt or regret or fear. It's about allowing yourself to be free and surrendering into the realization that everything is perfect just as it is. uh, because there, sometimes when we start to grow spiritually, there's what can seem to be these conflicting truths where both of these resonate with you deeply, and it can make you feel conflicted. But actually, these things are really supporting one another. So, on one hand, you want to grow, you want to change, you want to become the best person you can be. You want to fulfill your divine potential. You want to create or manifest this sacred life and sacred destiny, and to really evolve into the best person you can be. And you might feel like you're leaving behind who you used to be and becoming a new person who is more in alignment. And it's like this, this snake shedding its skin, or the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. And so it might feel that as you're growing, you're changing. And this is really an authentic thing, right? That we evolve and change. However, at the same time, is that everything is already perfect as it is, that there is nothing to do, there's nothing to change, there's nothing to go through, and no healing needs to take place because you're already perfect just as you are. So, and this is based on like that the miracle of love of life is just perfect just as it is, and to be able to just witness it in its wild and natural beauty. So this is where the paradox is with both these truths, and actually that you're here to live both of them, that both of them are true. So it's about using your own inner knowing of wholeness to bring you this peace, that knowing that both are true, and that evolution is part of the plan, and that as you grow, you evolve more into this spiritual nature. So it's like it's being able to hold both at the same time, like knowing that I'm growing and knowing that I'm perfect as I am as I'm growing. And when we forget things are perfect, then we can start to feel this sort of shame and regret and fear about ourselves. But it's always always there. It is always there. But some things in your life may feel like they are bothering you or annoying you. So, what do you do about those? And what the message that is coming through now is that maybe you're overly focused on the need to change, and going more into the acceptance with what is, and taking comfort in that things are happening in divine time, and in a some things that don't feel spiritual, don't feel good for you, actually can be, right? We know that. So divine perfection is without exception, and it is constantly going on. So the other card we have for you is flexibility. Life is full of changes and surprises. Your guidance is to move with the current, for it is resisting the flow which creates problems. Open your mind and heart to new ideas and fresh options. So this is it, when we get caught in the details and we think how something should be, we don't allow in the divine and beautiful nature of what life wants to bring into us. So when we rest in that knowing that things are perfect as they are, then we can invite in transformation and change from a soul level and from a divine level. And then when you allow yourself to be free and flexible and move with that, you can open up so much magic into your life. Okay, so this is your message, group number 1. It's about letting go of this kind of fixation on how things should be or need to be, or on the details of how things are going to work out or how things are going to come through, and allowing yourself to move into the state of really enjoying and fully experiencing where you are, and finding the beauty in where you are, and then allowing change to come in once you're in that state. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Thank you so much for joining me. You can give me a thumbs up or a like, or you can book a private reading with me below. And here we have group number 2. So group number 2. So your main way you're self-sabotaging is the Metal King, discipline, armor, boundaries. So you're quite likely a bit defensive. That you know, protecting yourself from the world, from other people, feel like you need to really keep people at arm's length, or you need to protect your heart because people might hurt it or break it. You might kind of hide behind like a position of authority, or behind organization, or kind of work. You may hide behind sort of structures of discipline in your life, routine, and this kind of, you feel it keeps you safe because it's like this structure, but actually it means you're being quite defensive with your heart. So we have wild compassion, which is number 32, Buddha and peridot, crystal peridot, so this crystal can help you. And we have forgiveness and self-worth as your angel messages. So yeah, so how do you overcome defensiveness? Well, compassion, you know, is straightforward in the sense that, first of all, you have this compassion for yourself, and really being able to look after, forgive yourself, feed yourself, nourish yourself, and really take care of who you are, so that you feel like you are loved from you, and you're not dependent on other people to nourish you. And then you don't need this armor so much, because you know you can take care of yourself, you can love yourself and look after yourself. And then you don't, it's like you can soften and relax that external constraint. And it's when you set boundaries and limits, you know, they're important. It's important to set boundaries and limits, and it's okay to have them. It's also forgiving yourself for setting limits, and for having the armor, for having the boundaries, because I feel like you probably have needed to learn them. You know, you've needed to find a way to give yourself that support, because maybe it wasn't given to you by other people before. You know, maybe you didn't get that from your parents or caregivers. They didn't provide you with structure, or your relationships haven't provided you with safety. And so you've needed to build that up. So first of all, forgiving yourself, letting go of how you've been hurt, or any resentment you have, any anger or frustration you have from the past towards others or towards yourself. And when you're able to forgive them and forgive yourself, then you can soften. Then you can really soften, and the burdens are taken away from you. So without expecting anything from other people, just choosing to forgive them and let them go, and then you can open and soften your heart, and then you're able to give more freely. Give more freely. I mean, forgiveness, you know, I haven't really thought about it before, but giving. Forgiveness is about giving to others without condition. And forgiving is kind of a way that we take that armor off. And like knowing that you are likable and lovable just as you are, without your armor, without your defense, without your masks and routine. Just as you are, you're really beautiful. And don't let other people discourage you from believing that. Really, you know, you can stand tall and confident without all of this on. And when you have that kind of confidence in yourself and in your aura, then others feel really good around you, and they want to be around you, and you encourage other people to feel confident and worthwhile as well. Compassion sometimes comes up when there are restrictions in your life, you know, where there have been difficulties, or where you feel like you're not receiving what you need. And it's about the idea that, you know, those, maybe you're not getting what you want now because an amazing, life-changing, beautiful opportunity is coming towards you, and so you're kind of preparing for that. So you may feel like your current circumstances aren't offering you what you need, but when you have compassion for those people and the current circumstances, you're allowing this new beautiful future or future experience or relationship or whatever it is to come in and to really upgrade and support you. So it's about finding, this gratitude for what is, as always, and trusting, trusting yourself to engage in the journey of life, and opening your heart to it, trusting your heart to it. And then you'll find that if you're able to have compassion for yourself, have compassion for others, then it can transform your life. And you have this, develop this graciousness and this softness, this tenderness, when you really sink into that idea of compassion. So it might be good for you to kind of meditate on, or to really deepen into that experience of what is compassion. What does compassion mean to me? How can I have compassion? How can I be compassion? How can I receive compassion? And sometimes compassion, comes with a sense of humor, taking things lightly, being able to see the funny side of things. It's those kind of things that soften and lighten experience and allow people to connect. So you don't have to avoid or hide or fight against life, but to play with it, to engage with life and to be curious, and to know that we do feel pain, and that's normal, because sometimes pain is unavoidable, and that's because it's part of our healing process is to experience pain. So it can feel like that, but it can also be really joyful and really beautiful. And it's not about the mind. This is a really heart-led energy, really being connected to the ability to really live from the heart. And so engaging in that, and engaging in the heart, in your life, in a really deep way. And then you kind of build up this ability to stand tall and proud and beautifully without needing your kind of construct around you. So I hope you find a way to explore and embody this wild compassion in your life. Thank you for tuning in. You can give me a thumbs up or drop a comment below, and I look forward to speaking to you another time. Okay, group number 3. Number 31, the prison waif, which is self-sabotage, poverty consciousness. And then we have higher will and wisdom. So I feel like this is about tuning into your mind and using your mind in a slightly different way. I feel like you may have a habit of getting stuck in your emotions, getting stuck in a kind of hole where you, it's like there's a way out of this prison. The light is right behind her. The light is shining through. She's got wings, but she's just focused on being in these bars and being stuck underground or stuck in this hole. And she could just turn around and look up and fly out through that space. So it's about having the ability to see there is another way, or there's another solution, to see where the positive is. And so this is about you consciously choosing to focus on the what if my life could be different? What if something completely changed? What if that person had a good reason for saying that, or a good reason for behaving like that, and that what if I could trust them? What if I could trust myself? What if people do want to support me? And allowing yourself to go into a slightly different way of thinking or seeing life, and really making an effort to choose that. Because sometimes it does require this willpower, this knowing to absolutely quieten, know that you need to really quieten and become still, and then take actions from your soul place, not from your emotion, not from your mind buzzing round, but about aligning yourself with the divine, and then making your choices and your actions and your decisions from there. So what can happen is, you might already have a sense or a way of working with this. For some of you, I feel you've already developed this wisdom. You've already got this knowing. It's just you need to just take action on it. You have your own knowing what your self-sabotage is or what your way out is. So it's about listening to that own understanding, that own wisdom, and not allowing yourself to fall into drama, fall into these kind of gossip, or into this kind of circling fear energy where it's like perpetrating chatter that's not positive or not helpful for us, and about consciously choosing to look at things in a different way. And I think it's also this knowing. When you tune into your knowing and your wisdom, I think then you know that everything is going to happen for you, because you may have been through some really tough stuff, okay? You may have had some really difficult things thrown at you in this life, and you've been through it, you've been through it. But it's this, when you tune in to your divine knowing, when you really allow yourself to be still and go deeper than the story, go beyond the story you tell about yourself or about your life. And when you go down into that stillness, there is this knowing that you have a beautiful divine destiny, divine love unfolding in your life. And it may be hard for you to trust that knowing sometimes, but if you keep choosing, I'm just going to choose, I'm just going to trust. I don't know what it is, I don't know how it's going to happen, I don't have all the answers, I can't control it, but I just know that something's going to work out, that everything's going to be okay, that everything's going to work out, that everything is working out. Everything is already working out just as I need it to, just in the divine plan, in the divine way. And it's not about controlling with your mind, but about trusting your knowing. Trusting your knowing. So choosing to listen not to the talking mind, but to the knowing mind. And if you don't know about that, then you really need to go and train in some meditation, or understand more about meditation, so that you can get a sense of the difference between the kind of chatter that goes on in your daily life to this all-encompassing experience of knowing that you can feel in your whole body, in your gut, in your heart. People have different ways of just knowing, and different experiences of how they just know, but really deepening into that and choosing that knowing and trust in that knowing, and then you can relax your mind and focus on the wisdom that you have within. Because life is absolutely incredible and genius, and everybody has a divine plan unfolding, but it's about surrendering and allowing that to come in, and not allowing yourself to get stuck in drama and in kind of stories and murk and that kind of stuff. It might be useful for you to, fully write out your story. What is the drama? What is it that you're going through? And to just, write it. And then what I've found when I've done that practice over the years is that my story changes, or when I start telling something from my past, I'm like, I don't even care about this anymore. This isn't relevant to my life anymore. And I stop talking about it, and I stop, keeping that recurring pattern, that recurring experience from being energetically alive within me. And then I choose something different, and then I can experience a different life in a whole, because I'm not holding on to that anymore. Okay, so listening to your own knowing, letting go of any stories or patterns that you keep yourself stuck in, and trusting in your divine, the divine looking after you and having a plan for you. Okay, So much love to you, group number 3. Please subscribe or give me a thumbs up, or drop a comment below. You can book a private reading with me below too. Hi, group number 4. So, the word Lord, this is the way you self-sabotage, and I just immediately saw the word dishonesty here and then honesty here. So there is something about honesty that's very important for you. And we also have daring rebirth, which is goddess Ishtar, and astrophyllite as the crystal. Communication, praise, dishonesty. So I feel like for you it's really important to bring awareness to how you speak and what you're speaking about yourself and about others, because words are spells. You know, this, we have this understanding of spelling, casting a spell, spelling a word. Words are spells. Words create our life. We talk our life into existence. And because words hold energy and they hold meaning, and when we repeat patterns, repeat words, repeat stories, this has a similar theme to the previous group. When we repeat these things, then we're recreating them in our life. So, but for you, this is specifically about paying attention to what you say or what you write, and being really, really truthful and honest with yourself about what really is the truth in the situation. Because sometimes, you know, we can get into a habit, for example, of blaming other people for our problems in our life. That person said this, or that person did this to me, that person blah blah blah. And when you're speaking that, and you're saying that person hurt me, that person tries to control me, that person's always saying this, then when you speak those words, you're giving that person your power, and you're relinquishing your own power within your life to create. And so being really honest with yourself, is it the full story that you're giving? Is it the full picture? Because when we tend to blame someone else for a situation or an experience, we take away our own responsibility and our own experience within that situation. For example, I've been in situations where I felt completely attacked and completely hurt by someone else, and I've said, like, you know, this person's narcissistic and they're doing this to me and they're doing that to me and blah blah blah. And then I realized that my own actions were from the other person's perspective. If I was really honest with myself, if I looked at my words and my actions completely from their perspective, without, you know, my excuses for whatever, my reasons, my behavior could be described as narcissistic in that situation. And when I realized that I was blaming someone else for being like that, when they could say this exactly the same thing about me, if I was really honest, they could say that about me, I realized how much I was influencing and creating this situation in my life, and that it had actually nothing to do with how the other person was speaking to me. I started changing my behavior and changing how I acted towards them, and it transformed the whole situation in my life. And it was a very important situation that I needed to transform, because it's, you know, extended family that I, you know, isn't a friend or something that I could cut out my life. It's someone who's in my life. And so I really needed to find a way to really heal that situation, because I don't want to live in drama. I don't want to spend my life fighting with someone and having to, you know, it's difficult. It's really difficult to face the truth about ourselves sometimes. But if we want to really heal our communities, our societies, our families, ourselves, our children, then we have to be so honest with ourselves and really fully accept our own actions, our own responsibility. And so I feel for you, there is something about, so that particular situation might not be relevant, but there's something for you about transforming the way you speak about a particular situation, or speak to a particular person, or about yourself. It's the way you hold yourself or speak about yourself in life, because we've got this, your main guidance as to, or we've only got 2 cards, but the main guidance here, this one, is daring rebirth. This rebirth with honesty. And this rebirth is about you claiming this defiant and powerful phoenix-like part of yourself, refusing to be defeated, not letting life defeat you, not letting other people defeat you, but finding your own spirit and finding your own power, and not allowing other people's words or ideas or your own words or ideas to overpower you, overpower your peace, your spirit, your heart, your optimism. You know that you will succeed. Okay, so whatever you're going through or whatever you're experiencing, know that you will succeed and you will overcome the situation, and you can do it. And you can do it. And it takes a lot of strength and a lot of daring to imagine that your life could be different or a situation could be different. That you have to, this is how you can overcome, this is probably something quite big or quite challenging in your life. You can completely transform any situation, no matter how dark or difficult it seems, by choosing to see it or understand it in a new way. But in order to do that, you have to be so honest, and it's really, really can be really, really challenging. But just know that by allowing yourself to do that, although it feels like that gateway, that door to walk through can feel really difficult, it can feel like a death, but this is like a shamanic death. This is not a physical death. This is a spiritual death, a spiritual transformation, like the death card in the tarot, like the phoenix, it's the rebirth. This is the death, the rebirth, completely letting go of how you think something was or is, or who you are, or who someone else is, whatever this is relating to in your life, and choosing to rebirth that person, yourself, this experience in a new identity. Because you may have built part of your life around this kind of situation. You may have built up who you are or your story, whatever, around some particular way of understanding, way of speaking, or way of communicating. And so this can be very ingrained and quite a big habit. But the thing is, just one step at a time, and to trust that the kind of feeling like you're dying, when you let go of that part of yourself, when you feel like you're dying, you're rebirthing into a whole new level of being, a whole new person, a new awakening. And I know, because I've been through it. I've been through this kind of rebirth, and it's tough, but at the end of the day, you have to choose. It's a little bit like that saying, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Because often when you think you're trying to be right, you may be being right in a logical sense, but on a spiritual heart level, what is right? What is the right path? What is the right choice? What is the right thing to say or the right thing to do? It can be quite different sometimes. So, this is a daring rebirth, because you need to be daring. And on one level, you can be celebrating. For some of you, this may be a smaller, lighter kind of thing, which you can kind of enjoy a little bit. For some of you, this is going to be a really difficult and big challenging thing that you're going through. And it can bring up fear of being successful. Sometimes it's easier to be stuck in a difficult situation than taking ownership and transforming it. There can be a fear of, what if things actually worked out? What if, what if things are good? What if things could be really good? We can almost desire or be attracted to living in the shadow or living in drama, be attached to drama. But there is often a lighter way of being that in the end is going to make us a lot happier, once we really allow ourselves to be in it. But there can be fear of, rejection or abandonment, and people judging you or ridiculing you, being shamed, being ignored, that you'll get things wrong or you'll regret it. But this transformation, this change, it could be a job, letting go of a job that doesn't really serve you, and having to be really honest that this work isn't fulfilling or isn't really what you want to do, and it can be very fearful trying to find something new or stepping into being something different because you've attached your identity to it. So it's like that part of you has to die in order to be someone else. But allowing yourself through that is going to massively transform your life. And that experience and that growth is irreplaceable. So, this might be something big, and it's not something you have to do straight away, but I think it's something that you start to look into and become aware of and start looking, first step I feel is this honesty, being really honest with yourself about your life or situation or relationship or whatever kind of came to your mind during this. Really deepening into that integrity, into authenticity, and purifying wherever you feel confusion or murkiness in your thoughts or in your feelings, and really going into those to fully understand and look into what's really going on there. Wow, so this can be really powerful for you, group number 4. Thank you so much for tuning in and for connecting with this reading. Please give me a thumbs up or subscribe, or if you haven't. And you can book a private reading with me below, or I look forward to speaking to you again another time. Love.